if you can see us and hear us, please let us know in the comments. I can see my mother just reminded me that it's Apple Blossom weekend this weekend in Canada. I am missing that. And Kristen and Mark. Oh, local in Cuba. Thanks for joining us from London, Ontario. Oh, Kristen and Mark. Perfect. You can see us and hear us. And then Reese, I'm so glad you were able to make it because we were just going over some of the answers to your questions, and you're calling in from Richmond, California. Actually, Reese, one of the questions I had for you, maybe you can let me know in the comments there, is that I thought San Francisco had a lot of fog that came in over the bay. So as we were going through your questions again, I thought, wait a minute, he's really worried about it being cloudy, but I thought San Francisco was quite cloudy. So if you can let me know, because I meant to actually Google that before we started this chat. Oh, Shane and Tanya, thanks so much for coming in from Alone. It's so nice to see you guys. Someone actually on my one of my comments said, hey, there's another Canadian couple and they're on the coast. And so I thought, yes, I know them. We were in their last video. Oh, Reese, you're just north of the fog. Okay, well, that makes sense. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes. Now, as you guys know, this is a very special live because Andreas has decided to join us. Now, this is the last live. Pedro, thank you so much for calling in. Pedro. And then also Reese keeps the cool air though. Yeah, so you're used to cooler weather, so that's good. This is the last live from Ecuador. However, I think I panicked people by saying this when I posted about it a couple of days ago. This is the last live from Ecuador. It is not the last live, and it is certainly not the end of the Ecuador videos. So for the last 6 weeks, basically since I got the digital nomad visa, we have been doing back-to-back road trips. And the goal for that was to try to shoot. My goal was enough video to continue sharing twice a week through the summer. And so also on top of that, when I go back to Canada on Wednesday, I will have some content from there. Not a lot. The goal for me is actually not to shoot any content really in July and August. So in June, I'm going to be doing a number of different travels around Canada that I'll share with you. And then beginning with Canada Day, July 1st, I'm supposed to be taking a break. Although, as my family reminds me, I don't know how not to overwork and how not to, just to relax and take a break. So, Kristen and Mark, yes, I got the digital nomad visa. So, I did talk about that on the last live, and that was really great. I think the last live was about a month ago, and that was really helpful for me to share the story once. And then a couple of days ago, we re-recorded it, and so that will be a video coming out, I hope, next week. I'm actually going to fast track that because there are a number of people who are trying to apply for that visa. And I just want to share my story and also all those difficulties with them so that they understand that those difficulties are normal. And then also hopefully me sharing how I was able to get it, the papers that I had to present will help them. So that means I can come in and out of Ecuador for 2 years, and I am coming back to Ecuador. So at the very latest, I want to be here for Dia de los Difuntos, which is Day of the Deceased or All Saints Day. And then, of course, Cuenca Independence Day is November 2nd? 3rd. And so I definitely want to be here for that because I think this is going to be a really great Cuenca Independence Day. Oscar from New York. So glad to see you. Oscar, I think this might be your first live. And then Ursula. So glad to see you. Ursula is one of our Patreon members. So thank you so much for calling in, the same as Reese. Guys, if you don't know this, the last live, I did announce that I'm working through a Patreon program now. So it's just the amount of work that we're doing on these videos means that I'm actually taking time aside from my job, which is my website. And so Patreon is really an opportunity for me to dedicate a lot of time to the members of that community. So some of our members have had questions or they want to know things. And so they have direct access to me and then also to Andreas because I'm constantly asking him for answers. And then also I do share things there that maybe wouldn't belong in a video on the site because it's not enough, but there are like little tidbits of things that I know from having been here. Like, for example, in Cuenca, there is a subsidized pharmacy, so you can actually get things cheaper there. That doesn't really belong in a video, but I want to share that kind of information. So over on Patreon, I am sharing all of those little tidbits that make life in Cuenca easier, and then just all the little things that we have on our trips that, yeah, it doesn't make the cut, but I think it's useful information. Shane and Tanya, hair looks great, Andreas. Like what you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Andreas donated his hair to make a wig for children with cancer. It's actually not his first time doing it, and so I also like the short hair. I mean, I'm a short hair kind of person. I think it looks good. Guys, if you have not liked this live yet and you're on a computer or on your phone, please, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be awesome. Maria, is today Andreas's birthday? It's not today, but it is tomorrow. And so that's why we're having the live on a Saturday instead. Normally I would have it on a Sunday because tomorrow we're going somewhere special. So it's also going to be work because we're turning it into a video, and I hope it's really great. But yes, tomorrow is Andreas's birthday. We're going to try to have some fun, and we're going somewhere I think that's going to be pretty cool. Mario, hello from Atlanta. Wow. Thanks so much, Mario. And then Ursula, am I planning to move permanently to Ecuador? So my background is for the last 12 years outside of the pandemic. I've been location independent. So I've never had a home. I don't have a home in Canada. I don't have a home anywhere. And so I'm not ready to permanently move anywhere. I mean, Ecuador is definitely up there. It's one of the places that I would consider, and I would also consider Mexico. It depends on a variety of things, but right now I never have any desire to own. I will be a renter for life. I like to have the ability to say, oh, there's a leak in the roof. Awesome. I'm just going to pack up and go somewhere else. Don't like my neighbors. They're too loud. Yeah, no problem. I'm going to leave. So Ecuador, it's a possibility. The livability here, especially in Cuenca, is very desirable. So, never say never. Johanna, happy birthday. Thanks so much. I'm so glad you were able to join us for this one. Suka, Minnesota. Wow. Are you one of Andreas's relatives? Suka 9316. If you are, let us know. Is it one of your relatives? Maybe.
I have like a couple of siblings that are like brunettes.
Right.
That's how they call themselves Suka. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we might have some Andreas's family here. Ambrose Joseph from Cape Breton. I hope your hand is doing fantastic. Also, let me know later how you're doing with the apartment hunt. Oh, you're not one of his relatives. Wow. Nice. Interesting. Well, thank you also for coming. Marie and Lex following from Alabama. You guys are coming up the coast. So I'm actually interested to see what you guys see when you go to the coast because I haven't been there yet. And Sandy, have a great birthday. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks. All right. It feels like a lot of people are here. So I want to get going on this because last live, I spoke for 2.5 hours, which is insane. I do not expect him to answer questions for 2.5 hours because then he would never want to do a live with me again. That's right. But I do want to introduce Andreas because we have been friends for 12 years. And so when I first moved here, when I first visited Ecuador, he was one of the first people that I met, and we have stayed in touch. And when I was writing on my website, I've got lots of content on BaconisMagic.ca about Ecuadorian food. If you're looking to read as well as watch videos, Andreas helped me with like pretty much all of it. So we decided that I would come back and I hire him. So he's a national guide here in Ecuador. And you focus, a lot of your tours are on cajas, bird watching. He also does like introductory tours for people who are moving here. And then I get credit for knowing so much about Ecuador. But I feel like sometimes I'm a bit of the puppet because I have just learned everything from him. So I get all of the kudos for being so knowledgeable. But really, the truth is, without having a national guide and without someone with so much experience who can customize tours, I would not be able to create the videos that I do. So to be honest, I'm really sad to leave here because I'm going to be in Canada, and then also before I come back, I'm going to go to a couple of other destinations. I'm going to have to do that alone, and I'm not going to know as much. So trying to find the Andreas in other countries, I don't think it's going to happen.
You will.
Maybe.
There's always one like me.
Pedro just said 39 people watching and 21 likes. Guys, if you could like this video, that would be so helpful for me. And Roberto, thank you so much. Happy birthday to Andreas. I should say, guys, I actually pronounce his name, I think, improperly. You say that it's not so bad. I extend it because I'm an East Coaster from Nova Scotia. And so I always say Andreas, like EAS, but it's Andreas. Like, who's someone famous? The name Andreas.
Nobody.
Andreas. Oh, there was that tennis player from the 80s.
That's
that had the
Andre Agassi.
Oh yeah, okay.
But that's Andre.
Andre. So it's like Andre, but with an S.
S at the end.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get to, so for this, I'm going to start with the Patreon members' questions first, and then we will take everyone else's. So, Kristen, please remind me about your question at the end. More birthday congratulations to you.
All right.
David, I'm so glad that you are you're happy about the recommendations that we gave for Quito. That's fantastic. And Mario, oh, you guys will be June 14th. Awesome. You have a long list of restaurants and food. Thanks. So let's start with the questions.
All right.
The first ones are from Reese. Oh, if you want to open that. Okay, so Reese is from just north of San Francisco and is considering moving here. And one of his questions was, no, I've got it up here. I'm going to read it. Oh, okay, right here.
Okay,
right here. All right. It was, so Reese said, as I mentioned, my biggest concern about Cuenca, this is actually a concern for many people, is the cloudiness. But actually, I introduced you, but you didn't introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce? Yeah. Why don't you tell people?
Okay, so most people know me as Angelina's sidekick, which I am, but also I'm a tour guide. So for over the last 17 years, I have been a national tour guide here in Ecuador. And I have also focused on being a naturalist tour guide for the Cacao National Park, since it's very close to the city of Cuenca. My family opened one of the very first bed and breakfasts in this area of the historic district of Cuenca about the same period of time. So my family and myself have been involved with tourism in Ecuador since the early 2000. And as you have experienced already with Angelina's video, for me it's a pleasure that all of you are very into Ecuador and hoping one day to come down here. We'll be so excited and humbled to receive you all. Ecuador is a fantastic destination and it's worth visiting. There is some risks, although you might like it so much that you will never leave. So gotta be careful about that.
Yeah.
So my educational background, just briefly, I studied university. To be a tour guide here, you have to study at university. Careers depend, goes from 2 to 4 years. I studied in the University of Cuenca, here in the city of Cuenca, and I was also able to study abroad. I studied in Germany, in the University of Applied Science in Munich, and I did this internship with a college in the States and the Disney University. So for a year, I actually live in the United States, in Florida. Do I like Disney? No, but they are one of the most important hospitality providers in the world. So I learned a lot about American culture. So now getting started with the questions.
Yeah, we'll start with the questions. I want to give a fun fact though, first about you, is that, and my mom will attest to this. So my mom and I play Wordle every day. And oftentimes if I'm doing it, Andres will be beside me. And so I will ask him to help me with it. He gets the word more than I do. I think your vocabulary, yesterday the answer was tiara, and we got it in 3. And so I feel like your vocabulary in English is actually better than mine. Anyway, so that's a fun little fact. If you play Wordle, we do my mom and I send each other WhatsApp messages about how long it took us to get it. Anyway, so Reese. Reese said his biggest concern is about the cloudiness. He's a weather wimp and he hates hot and humid. So that means you're not going to the coast. And he has heard that Cumbaya, which is close to Quito, it's in a valley, like a suburb outside of Quito, is sunnier and a bit warmer. Is that true? And are there other clean, safe, and comfortable suburbs that are close to cities to consider?
Yeah, well, this is, I believe, a kind of a weather question. Yeah, Cumbaya, in terms of geography, is a valley, so it's lower than most of the cities in along the Andes of Ecuador. It's warmer, for sure, but we do have seasons here. Ecuador has two very marked seasons: the rainy season and the dry season, which are very interesting because the rainy season usually is warmer than the dry season. The dry season actually is around July and August, and especially in the highlands, those are the coldest. You will experience some of the coldest days of the year in this period of time. So, Combaya is famous for being a fancy neighborhood. You can consider them, if you're American, you can tell that Combaya is like the suburbs, and Quito is downtown. So it's a place that is meant for families. They built some infrastructure there because of the airport, some malls and stuff like that. So if you planning to live there and you're looking like a quiet and a bit boring type of life, yeah. So Kumbaya, let's go, let's do it.
Right.
Cities in Ecuador, they all have challenges, but like the most challenging one is Quito because it grew so big. It has all these issues of any other big city in Latin America, like Mexico DF, Buenos Aires, or Bogota, especially with the pollution and some social
Traffic.
issues like traffic as well. So um, you might consider as you know uh, like a recommendation to tour around Ecuador first,
Yeah.
because you might surprise yourself about what you can like. I always tell to Angelina this fact about Vilcabamba, that it has become a hotspot for expats.
And
It
anti-vaxxers.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it blew our mind because who wants to live there? We thought. Actually, Vilcabamba had like one of the smallest population and the oldest one, because the young ones, they were tired of living in what they thought was boring, because the perception was completely different to the one that the foreign people came with. So they actually really appreciate the beautiful countryside and how pristine the environment was there, something that the locals didn't appreciate. So now, if you go, well, now land is not as cheap as it used to be 10 years ago, um, but it's some of these things that you have to consider.
Yeah.
Ecuador lacks of proper promotion at so many levels, especially tourism. So you might just hear good things about places like Quito, even Cuenca, and the Galapagos, but Ecuador is way more than that.
Yeah. I think too. So I agree. Like you do need to come here. People always say, like, what's your favorite place? What would you do? And for me, I always say Cuenca because it has the most going on. It's the smallest. It's the safe. It's not the safest, but it is safe. It's really a large town. And so you really do need to go. So for me, anywhere around Quito, like Cumbaya, I would not do, because every time you want to go into Quito, traffic, pollution. I mean, I love to visit there, but the livability, if you want to go into the city, isn't that great. And then also at night, not safe at all. So you'll actually see that I didn't really share anything from night in Quito because the whole city shuts down. Whereas in Cuenca, everybody's out walking around doing things. It feels much more like a Canadian city to me. And so that's why I like it. And there are also other events that we'll get to. If you could just open that up. And then also, just one thing. So Reese, you said that is Vilcabamba for hippies. So Vilcabamba attracts a number of interesting kind of people. Absolutely hippies. There's yoga places. There are a lot of extremely religious people, like not Christian. What's the other one? The The ones that are along the coast.
Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, the ones that
Mormons?
no, the other ones. The other ones that have like the famous, like they have the famous reverends and stuff.
Oh,
What's-
TV evangelists.
yeah,
Kind of.
evangelism,
Yeah.
evangelicals. So there, you'll hear in groups if you're looking to move that Vilcabamba, there are normal people there, but for some reason there are a lot of like conspiracy theory, anti-government people there too. We didn't experience any of that in our visit. However, I am in a lot of Facebook groups for people around different places, and so you will find that. But I mean, there are crazies everywhere. So it just, I really liked Vilcabamba. I thought it was nice and arid. It was warm, but it wasn't humid at all. I don't know what it would be like to live there. Loja would also potentially be a good option. It has a regional airport, but I mean, I like Cuenca. The thing is, nobody can tell you what the best town is. You have to find it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to. So, Sandy, you said you're going to be here in Cuenca for 6 weeks from October to November.
That's
Ursula said the same thing. So, on all of my videos, I have Andreas's WhatsApp, which is the best way to reach him. And then, secondarily, email. But WhatsApp is really, if you don't have it yet, you're going to need it for Ecuador, and you contact everyone in Ecuador on WhatsApp. So, download it to your phone now, and that's actually the best way to reach him.
Yeah. I will reply as soon as I can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't do it before since I was traveling with you.
Me, yeah.
And in some areas, since we were doing some interesting trips, we didn't have like coverage.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, are we done?
I think we're done number one.
Yeah.
And then number two. Okay, so Reese likes to swim laps. Maria actually asked this a little bit of this question. Are there good public pools in Cuenca, other fitness centers, yoga, Pilates, Zumba classes? At our age, fitness is a priority.
Yeah, there are, and this is not only in Cuenca, all over Ecuador. Ecuador has like a public department that is in charge of the wellness of the Ecuadorians, and also there is this federation for young athletes. So there is plenty of infrastructure like Olympic size swimming pools, tracks and fields and stuff like that. Also, in most of the cities that enjoy natural areas within the city, it is very common to find Zumba or dancing aerobics groups. You don't have to sign, you just join in. They do it almost every day, early in the morning,
and the parks.
Yeah, around 6, 7 p.m. In the case of Cuenca, I actually like a lot the University of Cuenca swimming pool. They have that one. You have to pay. They have like I think it's like a monthly pass, only for using the swimming pool. But also, if you like, they also have a gym. They have a racket court. They have some other cool amenities, and it's very, very inexpensive. And university here, the Universidad de Cuenca, is right next to the historic district. So it's like walking distance from every single neighborhood here in town.
Yeah, I think like in the historic district, you're more likely to see like in the park things. So down the stairs from here is Parque De La Madre, which a lot of people talk about. There's like a track, there's like some outdoor equipment. You always see people running, and you do see these classes. And then El Vergel and a little bit further out, you'll see like bigger gyms like you would see in the US. And you can get like CrossFit, all of those things. Those things are here too. So
yeah.
Next one. I'm going to do this one, Reese, quickly for you, just for other people. So Reese had asked if there are any Asian markets in Cuenca because he has to have his condiments. So
No.
I would say if you have a specific food, condiments, you really do have to bring them. A lot of people talk about soy sauce here in Ecuador because it's different. You can get I think it's Kikoman variety. And sometimes you can get some oyster sauce and things. And actually in Cuenca, because there's such a big expat community, they do have some sections. El Corral, I think we saw like wasabi, but it's really rare. So in fact, there is a national brand here that makes what is called sriracha. It doesn't taste like sriracha at all. So I would say if you have condiments you really like, definitely bring them with you. But that doesn't mean you can't get Asian food. So I would say, Reese, if you did run out and you were near Quito, I would go to one of the Korean restaurants there. They do have some Korean and Japanese restaurants. They're buying from somewhere, I don't know where, but they would probably have a better lead. But in terms of Cuenca, yeah, bring your things with you. So, oh, Amy is calling, tuning in from California, and they are relocating in January. And Jane, thank you so much for making it to this one. Shane and Tanya, what is Andreas going to be doing while you're in Canada? Vacation? Well, he probably does need a vacation. Maybe sleep, but he's going to be working. So I do feel some guilt sometimes because I do take him away from his work, and people do try to hire him on a daily basis, and he'll have to turn them down. So this is the perfect time to hire him because I won't be taking up his time.
Yeah, but if I'm not available, I work with a number of colleagues that have had the same instruction and experience or expertise as me. So just reach out. If I'm not available, I'm gonna for sure wire you with some contacts.
Good people. Yeah. I mean, the good thing is, especially right now, a lot of these tour guides, so a lot of tour guides migrated to the US just because there wasn't work. And so, they had to make a living. And so now they're in the US working. And then there are guides that are still here. And the nice thing is about that, if you hire a guide directly, you're not paying the middleman fees. So you get a deal, they get direct work. So it's kind of a win-win situation. So we've actually had a number of people reach out to see if he was available, but he was not. And we were able to, suggest somebody that you trusted and, would do a great job. So, yeah. All right. Next question.
So,
all right. So Ecuador. Okay. So this is a fun one. So what is the entertainment scene, music, dance, performance, art like in Cuenca and Quito? Are there orchestras? Do major performers tour there? I like all kinds of music. I like variety. Are tickets affordable? In San Francisco, we have almost everything, but almost none can afford it. That made me laugh. So I think this will be a good message for you, Reese.
The entertainment scene here exists. Actually, cities like Quito, Cuenca, and Loja are renowned for that, not only within the country, but in the entire region. Like in Cuenca, every 2 years, we have an international art exhibit. It brings people from all over the world, not only South America. We also have every now and then art exhibits, because most of them are supported by the government, maybe the central government or the local government. All these activities are free because we want to encourage people to first get involved in this part of the society, and second, to use the many different beautiful areas that we have. Like, for instance, Cuenca has over 100 historical buildings that have been restored, and they are owned by the city. So the city has turned all these buildings into galleries or museums. Big cities like Cuenca, Guayaquil, and Quito has their own symphony orchestras.
Yeah.
So Cuenca actually has a season for that. Everything is free here, so it's fantastic in terms of private events, like, let's say, concerts and stuff like that. We do have them also. Most of them, although, will be focused on the taste of the Ecuadorians, like reggaeton concerts, salsa, the big ones here. But every now and then we'll have some international artists, like big ones, playing here. And as an interesting fact, it is usually cheaper than the rest of the region because of the market for these events here is so narrow. It's not like people are fighting for tickets or something like that. So I remember several years ago, Paul McCartney playing in Quito, and the most expensive seat for that event was at least $300-$400 cheaper than what it was in Peru and Colombia.
Yeah.
So it depends. What do you like?
He likes reggaeton, he said.
Oh, then you'll be.
He doesn't like reggaeton.
Nah.
I do like reggaeton. I would also say there's so much. There's just, at least in Cuenca, and I would expect the same. I know Loja is renowned to have some of the best musicians in the country. They're known as almost like the musical city. But because Cuenca and Quito are so big, they have lots of events. But here, there will just be, there's so many museums and government-owned buildings that it will just be like one night there's pasillo and it's free. You just have to be the first person in. And then a couple nights ago, they did have a paid event that the symphony was playing Beatles music, and it was at the Museum of Pumapungo,
Exactly.
which is where the Temple of the Sun is. And so it would have been beautiful. It was $25 a ticket. And so that I think would be considered expensive here. It was an outside concert, so you could have just stood outside and listened to the same thing. I thought about doing that.
Yeah, but besides that, if you are also like, if you can consider like our traditional festivals as these sort of events, then we have one almost every week.
Yeah.
Because the way we have adapted what the Spaniards brought, we have these patriotic celebrations like Independence Day and such, but also we have the festivals that indigenous people are still celebrating up to this time. We like, for instance, like the best time of the year to experience them all is last months of the year, October, November, and December. Christmas is beautiful here in Cuenca. We have parades, we have food festivals. There's always going to be something going on. It depends where you are. You just need to ask. Maybe you don't know. Weekend you are here, there is like a celebration of in a little town like 30 minutes away from where you are.
Sometimes we miss it. We will find there's so many festivals here. Like I think a couple days ago we were like, oh, we just missed that food festival that was just a little bit away. So there's always lots going on. I would say Cuenca Independence Day is a must visit. It's beautiful. There's tons of music and parades and all of those festivals leading up to Christmas, and it's just really, really beautiful.
The thing is, you need to ask because, as I told you, we suck about promoting what we do. Like sometimes we'll find on the news the next day. Oh, there was this big concert. Like the news will report it the next day, not the days in advance, so people can enjoy it.
Okay, so Bronxaby, I will be back in the fall. So I'm not exactly sure when, but I'm spending the summer with my family. I will have videos from Ecuador throughout the summer, and then I'll be back because, as I said, I think Cuenca Independence Day is can't miss.
Yeah.
All right, so Ecuador seems to score points for the environment. I've heard it's GMO free. What is your experience with food quality, organic, air quality, pollution in general?
Yeah. So just as any other country in the world, Ecuador follows international standards and procedures. We do have all the emblems in order of guarantee that what you're eating is organic, vegan, and such and such. All the information is displayed on the packages of the products. Yes, Ecuador is kind of like good pals with Mother Nature. The government has on law the GMOs because we want to protect our diversity. That's why when you go to a market here, you're going to be amazed about the amount of potatoes, for instance, that we have. So that's why we love to visit markets, because it gives you a great opportunity to see how like real thing is supposed to look like. Unfortunately, to obtain the certification in our countries is very expensive. So like in supermarkets, you will find an aisle that is named as organic, because that is certificate. But you just need to drive around like in the outskirts of towns, and you'll see these people like farming, and you just go ask them like, what do you use for farming? Most of them, they don't use pesticides or anything like that because it's expensive. It is expensive. Labor here is cheaper. According to them. So in a way, most what we eat is organic, not because we are trendy hipsters. It's because that's the way people are still like they are practicing the same practices for that have been been doing for the last couple of hundreds of years. In my experience, since I have worked especially with expats that started to come into Cuenca back in 2010, I have seen that the quality of life of those people really improved thanks to the food that they can get here.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people lose weight. And I think that's one, because portion sizes are smaller. And then also most food is not processed, because processed food, even when you go to the grocery store. So we will have a grocery store market video coming up. Actually, after this, we're shooting the end of it at, the big bulk market. But anything that's processed is more expensive. So when you go into restaurants and things, you're not going to have frozen vegetables, because they put in the labor of preparing the vegetables versus, buying all the pre-cut things. And then one of the things that we talked about was in the Andes, because labor is cheaper than the pesticides, yes, it's more likely that those places are going to be organic, or at least minimally sprayed, because of the cost of it. But then in the coast, and say the Amazon, where it's so hot and vegetation can get crazy, it's probably more likely that they might be using some things, because at some point you would spend too much money on labor. But in general, I think people try to keep those costs down, because farming does not make a lot of money, and so it's usually labor first, and then those additional products. But not everything is organic. Everyone wants to say everything is organic here, and it's not. But those small farms, it's most likely that I think it's one of those things you have to get to know your community, and people will certainly know and talk about it, and to go back to the same place every time. So in this video, we are actually going to talk about navigating the market, some tips like understanding what the Yapa is, which is when you're a loyal customer. It's like a loyalty program. They will even save the best things for you. So, it's actually a really nice way to work.
Yeah. And in terms of air quality, pollution, and stuff like that, well, now with the internet, you can check what's the current status of all of these situations every day. Here in the highlands, because the Ecuador has 22% of its territory protected. It's protected land. We have preserved a lot of the jungle, the mountain forest, and the tropical forest in a very pristine condition. Cities, of course, like Quito and Guayaquil, because how big they have gotten in the last 10 years, they do face
Smog.
Smog and some issues. Places like Cuenca, you see, is full of green patches because of the rivers and the mountains. The air quality is pretty much good. However, every now and then, because we're surrounded by volcanoes, after a volcanic eruption, the air quality won't be the best because of the particles. But it's nothing that is going to endanger your existence.
Yeah.
You don't need to go jogging during a volcanic eruption. That's the only thing.
And on the Facebook groups, everybody talks about it, because as soon as someone sees like a cloudy sky, they're like, what's happening? And then, there's news on that. But both with air quality and with road closures, traffic, that kind of thing, there are web pages that you can check every day. I just want to catch up on this. So, Flaco Presidente, hello. I would love some munchines, and he forgot to bring the coffee for this. Which passport is better? I'm actually just Canadian. I'm not Ecuadorian. I'm not Latina. I did a DNA test because I thought for sure that like somewhere along the line in my lineage, someone was lying, but I'm just like boring European. But I am, I think, third or fourth generation Canadian. So I only have a Canadian passport. So that's the best one for me. Luis, hola, Bessie. Nice to see you. I'm so glad you were able to make it. And then, Jane, as she said, she feels better coming here. BH Bringer, good morning from Nova Scotia. Thanks so much for joining in. So Kristen said, reminder, Andreas, it is really crucial to get up so early in the morning. Oh, is it? So to see toucans, do you have to get up early in the morning?
Well, that's like a golden rule in bird watching. Birds are more active as they are starting to get up, and they will be like gleaning trees or looking around for food early in the morning, like 6 to 7. And then they will go deep into the forest, or maybe they will rest the canopy of trees, so it's more challenging to see them. Ecuador is one of the most interesting countries to do bird watching. We rank third in the world with over 1,800 species. Nowadays, all over the country, more people are seeing this as an opportunity to for the people to experience this diversity. So there's a lot of lodges that are focused on bird watching, especially in the slopes of the mountains, the ones that go towards the Pacific or the Amazon. You can find places that they have set up feeders. So from time to time, you get to see very cool things like toucans and tanagers that are like the most colorful birds, and of course hummingbirds. So it depends the type of bird watcher you are. If you are the ones that are more into photography, the Eco Lodge will be for you because they have like set up the perfect scene for you to get the best picture of any species. But then if you are the type of bird watcher that would like to see them all or see the most of them, you will be the one that will the one that will hit the tracks super early in the morning to get to the farthest locations where we know that they live. So
yeah, I think you
depends.
usually get up in the dark in the morning.
Yeah, because you have to go there, you have to be there in the area as the first sunshine or sunlight.
Yeah, before the first light.
Yeah, exactly.
So she also wanted to know where to buy the recorders. Kristen, I think the recorders are like this.
A recorder might be like to record like the.
No, she was saying that the handmade recorder. She heard that Cotocachi was the best place to buy those.
Oh, like the
little fluty
like
things?
the artisanal one.
Yeah.
Like actually nowadays you can find it in every artisanal markets. Artisanal markets are all over Ecuador, especially in touristic destinations. You have to ask always because sometimes it's like a physical place, some other time it's like a little plaza that people know that these artisans sell their products. So yeah, in northern Ecuador, we have a lot of indigenous groups that are still making the instruments the old-fashioned way. So we got places in the Cotopaxi province and also in the Imbabura province, in the very famous city known as Otavalo, for instance.
So Amy wants to know for bird watching, do you have any special equipment? So you definitely need binoculars.
Yeah. So if you are like a bird watcher that wants to do things your way, you for sure will bring your equipment. And if you're also trying to get into it, you should buy equipment.
Yeah.
Here, all the tour operators that will take you to the places where you can do this activity will provide the equipment. But if you are really into it and you already have the equipment, you should bring it because sometimes it depends that the tour operator they will have top-notch products. Some other will have like very average binoculars.
And the other thing is maybe we should talk about that app that you use. So when we were in the Amazon, we are about to share this app that Andreas uses, but I think it's really useful and it's called.
Yeah, so that nowadays there are apps that will help you with the ID of the species, and they are super interesting because you can interact a lot and learn a lot from it. One is called eBird. I think it's powered by the University of Cornell.
Like eBird?
Yeah, it's like E and bird.
Okay.
That one is to take notes of the species that you have seen, and this one works together with another one called Merlin. You would pronounce that word better.
Merlin.
Yeah.
Like the wizard.
Like the wizard, exactly. So Merlin is the best because it has a database with real pictures of the species, and it works with the GPS. So it will tell you which species are the most probable to be spotted in the specific area that you are. It works with hundreds of lists that birdwatchers have submitted in the entire history. So
yeah, and so also the cool thing about it, I don't know if you said this, but it if you hear the sound, the app actually has several different like variations of the bird, so you know which one you're listening to.
Yeah, and it also has a photo ID. Yeah. So if you get a camera or even with your phone, you are able to snap a shot. It will use the database and will tell you more or less which is the one that you have spotted.
Yeah.
So it will help you a lot to learn and also to keep track of your sightings. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel like the first time I went to the Galapagos, I was with bird watchers. And then also spending so much time with them, you get like really excited to see different birds because some of them are so colorful here. It's pretty crazy. So the other thing, Amy, you may want to consider, which I don't do, and so he doesn't like me walking with him all the time, is you do need to have neutral colored clothing on. So I always have like bright colors. The other day we were at Cajas and I had like this bright purple jacket on and he was dressed all in green and he's like, go away. You're just going to scare the birds. And so you do need to have some neutral colors. I'm not doing that. So I'm just just gonna walk, 10 feet behind. Oh, and Kristen said happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
So David wants to know, is Ecuador considered gay friendly? Pride Month is in June. Are there any festivals?
There are parades. I know that some destination can ask to get an emblem that is an LGBTIQ friendly. Our society, because how deep Catholicism is, might be considered like a conservative one. But as time passes, we are just welcoming and friendly, and I don't think someone could feel less here. That was a thing in the past here in Ecuador. As an interesting fact, like Cuenca is known for being a very conservative city, but it was from Cuenca, from the academy, university, where the debate about legal, like equal marriage started. And it's getting fat because of all the tasty food.
Yeah. So I mean, even though Cuenca is conservative, I think it's also very similar to Canada, and it's like, do whatever you like. Just do what you are going to do. Like, if it doesn't concern me, I don't really care about it. You know what? I don't really care about it.
The entire country is pretty much like that. Probably communities that are isolated, like the indigenous people that live in the mountains, in the Andes, they might find that like strange or something like that, because keep in mind that they are isolated. But in big cities, I think we have, we're aware that we live in the 21st century.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen like a big pride parade here.
No,
but there are probably some events, and then some towns obviously would probably have bigger communities than others, like maybe even along the coast. But as we said, like Cuenca here is a huge arts community, so I think there's just the acceptance of that. So.
As a matter of fact, Ecuador was one of the first country that in our law, marriage is for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's something very interesting about our country.
Yeah. Oh, Pedro says 53 watching, 43 likes. If you haven't liked this video yet, I would love it if you could like it.
Should we go to
questions? Let's move on to the other questions. And then I just wanted to let you know, Mars54, I did make a note about your question about getting change, and then also the one about, is Cuenca more affordable than Quito? But we'll move on to the next one. Oh, I didn't even see this one. So Reese said, when traveling out of Ecuador from Cuenca, I heard that one must spend the night in Quito. So it's a 2-day trip. Do you find this to be true? When I land in Quito, from Canada, because my flight comes in at 10 o'clock, I do have to spend the night coming in, and then I fly to Cuenca. Going back, it depends. For example, like Wednesday, I'm flying back to Canada, and I'm flying with Avianca. So I'm flying out of Guayaquil, and it's Guayaquil, Bogota, Toronto. And so that's all the same day. So I don't think it's guaranteed unless maybe you fly directly out of Cuenca.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it depends on your flight schedule.
Yeah.
We do have connections from Cuenca to Quito, but they are just a bunch. I think it's 3 every day. One early in the morning, another one at noon, and the last one somewhere around 4 to 5 or 6. So yeah, like if you are in Cuenca and you have a flight to, I don't know, the States, let's say, if you can't get a flight ticket, the other option is to take the bus. The bus from Cuenca to Quito is 8 hours, more or less.
Or you could get a shuttle to Guayaquil.
But he said like from Quito.
Oh, so no, I meant to fly from Guayaquil to Quito.
Yeah, like from here, but it's going to be kind of the same. From here to from Cuenca to Guayaquil by shuttle is like 3 hours. Now I know that there is a new air taxi service that they are like offering. I don't know how much it is, but it should be like somewhere around like a 30 minutes trip or something. So it really depends on like at what time your flight is leaving. Like during the day, so then you need to plan in advance.
It also seems like there are some of the regional airports are opening up because tourism is opening up. more flights are happening regionally. So now I just heard there are flights from Quito to Esmeraldas, and I believe there are flights from Quito to Manta and return same day. Like they have 2 flights a day. So if you just had to go to Quito or Manta, you could do that, and it would only be a day trip. So with travel opening up, I think a lot of that will change.
Yeah, of course, like buying a ticket in advance is always helpful in terms of saving some money. But I'm very sure that if you want to get a ticket the day before, you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, and so he Reese just asked, is it better to use Guayaquil? And so the interesting thing is, for my flight home, I just assumed I would go Cuenca, Quito, Toronto. But then I realized if I flew from Cuenca to Quito, it was actually pulling me back to Guayaquil and then to Colombia. And it was more expensive. It was more expensive. And so one of the things that we had talked about was that Guayaquil is a smaller airport and the fees there are less. And so there are some airlines that prefer to do the majority of their flights out of Guayaquil for that reason.
Yeah. So this actually comes along with the
next
question.
Yeah. So are flights cheaper when booking from within Ecuador than the US and Canada? No. No, they're not. You really have to look. So if you are like one of those people that definitely wants to have the cheapest flight, you always either need to have a VPN or at least have private browsing when you're looking up flights. And what's really interesting is for my flight from Quito to Cuenca, we were talking, I was still in Toronto when we were talking on chat. And so he looked up the flight directly for the price, and baggage was extra. And then I just looked on Expedia, and it was the same price, but the luggage was included. So it's worth it to browse anonymously and to look at a number of options. I was surprised you'd think that buying directly is the cheapest, but it's definitely not the cheapest.
Yeah.
So Jane said, all flights coming in from US seem to land late in Quito. Yeah, that's what happened with me. So if you're flying into Quito, you could be landing late. Maybe, I don't know what
I think that's the standard.
Yeah, and so you might have to always just kind of stay the night. There are a number of really good airport hotels that the one that I stay in, it's only $25 a night. They'll pick you up from the airport, and then for them to take you back to the airport the next morning, I think it was $5. So not expensive to stay the night.
And because of that, I think Quito should be your landing destination.
Yeah,
I like this idea. The area where the Quito airport is located is quite nice.
It's a great airport.
Yeah, it's a great way to start your journey here in Ecuador. Guayaquil has some challenges. Maybe fly out from Guayaquil.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So Maria, some of your questions. So we'll do one of Maria's and then one here. So good morning. Good morning, Andreas. Do you offer specific question video consultations on an hourly basis?
Yes, I do. I think Angelina has already sent the information.
Yeah. So if you just want to have a consultation on video, or you want to have him show you around here, he does that. I think the best way is probably to just let him know what you are looking to talk about, and then how long, and then he can figure out a price with you, and then do that, and then just pay online. And then also the other thing that I think I might have mentioned this before, but one of his most popular tours before the pandemic was people who were just planning, who had already moved to Cuenca or were in temporary housing and just needed someone to take them around to show them how things work, or to explain the different neighborhoods.
It was funny because it was kind of like an accident. Like several years ago, somebody booked a tour with me, like a city tour, but they were not interested in like the sightseeing at all. They just told me, we want to know where we gotta pay taxes, and I was like, what? So like we are like, going to live here, so we would like to know someone from this area that can explain us how the city works.
Yeah.
And for me, it was interesting. But then, like, most people were interested in doing that, like expats, of course.
Yeah.
I'm a tour guide. Of course, I live here and I know how things work here. So
I think also because your family has had a series of accommodations in town and are connected to different hotel WhatsApp groups and things. like you also kind of have an idea of what's going on around the city
Yeah.
behind the scenes, maybe that people don't talk about, like if there are robberies or stuff going on or bad blood in a neighborhood that maybe you don't want to move into there.
Yeah, like people were interested about that. So yeah, we can do that. It's like a introductory tour, if you want to call it. I just call it like a city tour, but mostly focus on living here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can do something like that if you're here or if you're planning to come here.
Right.
We can
Okay.
do something about that.
So Mars54 wanted to know, she's moving from Loja to, I think you said Puerto Lopez. That's quite a move, but you're going to be by some beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous about
We're
that.
both moved.
Yeah. Strategy for getting change. So one of the things I noticed the last time we were on the coast is no one wants to give change. It's really hard to get change. So what is your strategy for if you only have 20s coming out of the bank machine?
You gotta go to the busiest businesses, drugstores, for instance. The cabinas is this place where people go to get credit for the phone, for the cell phones. Bakeries, everybody loves bread here in Ecuador. We start the day with piece of bread, so they might have lots of change.
Yeah.
And those are places that will be open early in the morning.
Yeah.
So those are like the ones that I can think right now that will help you to break out 20 or something.
Yeah,
like
my
that.
go-to is always the grocery store because they pretty much always have to have change like in the back, so it's not like a convenience store. I also want to say, David, thank you so much for that super chat. I will spend that money on Andreas tomorrow. Maybe we'll get you a birthday beer. Thank you.
I need new shoes.
He does need new shoes. So you've only got like 15 pairs. Okay, so Maria had another question, was how wide would you say your professional services can go beyond nature or tour guides? Would you be a good source to look over a potential lease?
Like in terms of driving you places, yes. In terms of helping you throughout the contract and stuff like that, no.
You need a lawyer.
Yeah. How like leasing here in Ecuador is not that complicated. We actually print a form that is in the internet, or you can buy it in like in a tienda, a little store. It's like they're like preset contracts. You need to sign them, and the the person that runs you up the place, he will take that to a notary. He will do that. So and he is also supposed to take this contract and take it to the city. The city has like a department where this contract will be sitting. And in case of some like controversy in the future, you have to deal through them. It's like they do like a mediation procedure there. So yeah, like I know that there are so many places here that offer like facilitators, stuff like that. I'm very sure they might have that experience, but to tell the truth, like leasing here in Ecuador is quite easy.
Yeah.
You gotta speak Spanish though.
That is, I think, something that's helpful. And then also understanding, because I think here some landlords want to know things like you have to pay 2 months as a security deposit and things like that. So maybe a facilitator would know what is the normal
So
expectations.
like those things are easy because since we live here, we know how things are supposed to be by law. So yeah, like in terms of taking you places, that's pretty much what a tour guide does.
Yeah.
But if you want like legal advice, then you'll have to get a lawyer.
Yeah. One of the questions is Cuenca more affordable than Quito?
Yes, way more affordable than Quito. We still have some neighborhoods that are very safe, family oriented, family friendly neighborhoods. They might not be super close to the historic district, but places like those, you can find really beautiful apartments starting at $200. Something similar in Quito, gotta be at least $500.
I would also just say the quality of living for me. I love cities. As I said, I'm from small town Nova Scotia, but before I started to travel, I lived in Toronto. So I love big cities. But Quito is hard to get around. Anytime we do tours, it takes twice as long because driving from one end to the other, like you have to really strategize. And I love visiting, but I couldn't do that on a daily basis, especially because also just the buses and traffic and all of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Quito was not meant to have the population that they have nowadays. It's like 3 million people.
Yeah.
That city is unsustainable. I was born in Quito. My mom is from Cuenca. So we moved to Cuenca over 17 years ago. And since then, it took me like 3 months to get adapted to the city. And since then, I'll never even hallucinate going back to Quito.
It is beautiful though. You know, when
Quito
we
is-
shared those videos in the historic center, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful city to visit. You should definitely go. Oh, Suka. Yes. So to contact Andreas, the best way is on all of my video descriptions. I give his WhatsApp number as well as his email address. WhatsApp is by far the best way to reach him because he checks that all the time. Email, not as much, or sometimes you get so busy that.
Or I'll be in places that don't have like
good service.
Yeah, service.
Yeah.
Like the mountains or something like that.
Yeah. So the best way is to do it that way. And I just think if you want to move here, download WhatsApp now because, you know, talking to doctors, like any appointments, anything I need to make, everything is done through WhatsApp. So the nice thing about it, if you're not a native Spanish speaker, is that you can just Google Translate because it's just text. But that's the normal way to do it, is just to text. And so it's a little bit easier if you're also when people respond, if you're not 100% sure what they happen, you can use Google Translate. Bree said, my Spanish teacher lives in Quito. Her grandmother from Loja. She just visited Cuenca and loved it. Everybody loves Cuenca. I mean, there's a reason it's becoming the most popular city. And I think it hasn't always looked like this, which is fascinating, but it really has a vision for what it wants this city to be. Green, full of arts, good quality of living. The food here is also cheaper. Like we have a video coming up about almuerzos or the set lunch, and you can have a 3, course meal, a lunch here for $3.
Yeah.
So it's very affordable and the food is high quality.
In the hot spot of town.
Yeah, in the hot
because
spots.
in Quito you can also find like $3 almuerzos or something like that, but in places that you don't really need to go, you don't want to go. Here in Cuenca is completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many reasons why Cuenca is cheaper than Quito.
Pedro, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That is so kind of you. So as you guys know, I do have a Patreon program, but for people like Pedro who watch our videos on Roku, it's not really easy. So I am also trying to figure out how to do that YouTube membership. We've been so busy with just shooting videos before I leave on Wednesday, but I promise you I will figure it out. And Alejandro, thank you so much. You're going to have a really nice birthday tomorrow.
Really nice pair of shoes.
Yeah, nice pair of shoes. I really appreciate that, guys. We put so much work into these videos, and it's really fulfilling to see that people really enjoy them so much and that we're helping people. But also at the same time, it's really nice to see that it's becoming a little bit more sustainable, because right now all of this is coming out of my pocket. And so I really believe that if I invest the time in this, like I'm hoping that my goal is to break even. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. LA is here. So Quito is a city where you can have everything, but you need to live in a great neighborhood. I was born in Quito. Yeah, I think there's some amazing neighborhoods.
Yeah. Quito is the most beautiful city. It has the most well-preserved colonial district in all the Americas. But as I told you, in the last 10 years, it grew exponentially to a point that it's complicated what they have to do to offer a good quality of life to their inhabitants. They have a metro system there that has been, I think they finished building it about 2 years ago, and they don't have it operational yet. Subway. Did I say metro? Yeah, it's called metro. It's a subway.
Insane. Yeah. It's insane. It's there.
And it's just
caught up in bureaucracy.
Exactly. It's just that.
Yeah.
It's so sad what's going on in Quito.
Thank you so much, Luis and Alejandro and Suka. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. So Ellie wanted to know, with everyone moving to Cuenca, how do you see the future in 5 years? It's definitely growing. There's a Mega Maxi, that's opening up next year,
Mhm.
and there are new buildings. I still think though that Cuenca has, when it changed over and they started to have better city planning, it seems like they're more aware of the growth and not just stacking things on top of each other.
Yeah, Cuenca is different to other cities in Ecuador because things have always been planned for people in the future. And this is not something new. It was something that they considered back in the 20th century. The fact that the Cajas National Park, for instance, is where we get the water from. We knew about, like, people of Cuenca, they knew that 100 years ago. So not even then, even the previous inhabitants of this area that were the Incas and the Cañaris, they knew that the mountains were so important because of the water that they drink come from there, so they protect them. There is no human settlements there. Since then till now, Cuenca is, I shall say, uh, it has embraced the fact about protecting nature as one of our cultural traits. Um, so the way that now we conceive how cities should expand is very responsible. We're doing it in a vertical way. We have these neighborhoods like Puertas del Sol, that we call it Gringolandia. That neighborhood was for the fancy and the wealthy people of Cuenca. They have the big villas, the casonas there, these huge properties where like big families will live. Now we, like, the families, like people in Cuenca, that we're not having big families anymore, so we don't need those casonas anymore, and also they're very expensive. So the companies of urban development, they are buying these casonas and they are turning it into condos. Like 10 years ago, nobody would like to live in a condo because, where's the privacy in there? But now it has changed. People don't have that many kids. Maybe they have a cat, maybe, or probably a dog. So they don't need anything as big as or the previous generation. So that's good because we are using the same space that we have already been using for the last 100 years. So because of that, we have been able to protect all these natural resources that we have surrounding the city. Like,
and they're used so much. So the parks and the river. So right down the stairs from here, there's the river that separates the old Central Historical from the rest. And every morning there are people walking, driving their bikes, like running. You've got a lot of people who are out active, like they're actively enjoying the green spaces. And so I think it would be very difficult to get rid of that. And then also, there have been times with Cajas, you told me that at one point they wanted to mine. So they held a referendum to see if the people in Cuenca would allow for that. And of course, everyone said no, because they know that would, damage potentially their water supply. Johnny just asked, we want to live in Cuenca. What neighborhoods would you recommend near parks and rivers would be nice? Well, the nice thing is there are parks and rivers everywhere, but I think you definitely have to come look.
yeah.
I mean, Cuenca has some really nice neighborhoods. We were out driving yesterday, and I was like, what's this one called? What's this one called? Because there are two rivers. Four rivers actually in the city, and then a lot of green space. And so it depends, like, how close do you want to be to like the mall or grocery stores or those kinds of things. Taxis are pretty cheap, so you don't need to be too close to them.
We have a lot of bicycle lanes.
Yeah.
The current administration is committed to build at least 30 kilometers more, which means that we'll have somewhere around 57 to 60 kilometers of bicycle lanes. Cuenca is pretty flat also, so bicycle is always a great option to move around.
The only hard part is going up the stairs.
Yeah.
That I think is where maybe an orientation tour would be great. Is if, Johnny, if you're interested, like Andreas could take you around to the different neighborhoods that are popular and then just show you the amenities.
We usually take people to the lookout place. So from there you can see the entire city of Cuenca. And you can kind of have a better idea.
Oh, wow. Ursula, thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
I gotta have 2 pairs of shoes now.
And Johnny, thank you. Wow, guys, I'm really overwhelmed. Thank you so much. I really just appreciate your generosity. It really means so much. Okay, so LA wants to know, what do you think of Vilcabamba?
Yeah, I love Vilcabamba. For me, it was interesting to know that the expats had like tags, so they will live in places that the tag belong to. Vilcabamba is this um, like I don't know how to explain it, but it was a desolated valley here in Ecuador. Nobody will talk about Vilcabamba, but then thanks to these expats, it doesn't matter if they are weird or whatever they are. Thanks to them, people start to noticing that there were more beautiful corners of Ecuador,
Yeah.
more than Quito, Galapagos, and Cuenca. Nowadays, Vilcabamba is also, it should be in your bucket list if you visit Ecuador. It has a very interesting type of ecosystem. It's a dry forest, which has a little bit of the Andes and a little bit of the desert that runs from Chile to through Peru, and it reaches that part. So it has a unique wildlife. There is also a very important national park within the area. Is the Podocarpus National Park, one of the also hidden gems of Ecuador natural areas. We saw Vilcabamba as a blooming destination, or it's going to be like really hot in the next couple of years. We get to see more like restaurants and stuff like that. It has also preserved, the market.
They have a great, very
Yeah.
clean market there.
So it's not only about
Yeah.
expats. So yeah, I really like it. If you love nature, that place is perfect. It has some heights, but the most beautiful part about Vilcabamba is still a charming little village.
Yeah.
So everybody greets each other, so you can really feel welcome.
Yes, it
Welcome
feels
there.
like a small town. If you need to be next to a hospital, not the best place to be. So some people are concerned about that.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. It has the charm of a tiny village.
Yeah.
So that's the extent of what
Of
a
the
tiny village
hospital.
means. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's also why, doing these road trips. I mean, we've done these road trips where we go back to back to back, and the drive from Loja to Vilcabamba is one of the most beautiful. It's really, really stunning.
Yeah, indeed. But I don't know if people know about it, but Vilcabamba, we call it the Valley of of Longevity.
Yeah.
Because people there really live like they outlive the rest of Ecuadorians. There were so many people that were 100 years old and even older, and this is because the quality of air, the quality of food that they consume, and most important, the quality of water.
Yeah. So they have a river that they believe that is the source of that. So I have a video on that. That was one of our very first videos. And we only stayed one night. And actually, I really want to go back. So, Paulina. Oh, feliz cumpleaños. It was almost a blue zone. Reese, I don't know what a blue zone is. Is that what I will say this. I've done a little bit of background on this Valley of Longevity. So
I think I see blue, like it's going to bloom. Blossom?
Blossom?
I think that, my Russian accent sometimes mislead people.
Anyway,
No.
what, Mom? I cannot believe you asked what is the most challenging thing about traveling with me. Jane, I did soak in that river with a beer. It was great.
It was bathroom stops.
Yeah. Oh, the bathroom stops?
Yeah.
Guys, I drink about 2 to 3 liters of water a day. Like, I'm constantly thirsty. Since I was a child, I've been tested for diabetes and a bunch of other things. It's just who I am. I'm thirsty. And so I constantly have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
My mother would understand that. I think I got that from her.
Yeah. For road trips, road tripping in Ecuador is cool because we do have infrastructure that will allow you to do that. We have gas stations every this much of kilometers.
Yes.
So nothing like you're going to get stranded in the middle of the highway.
Yes.
However, in the coast, like by law, gas station must have like pristine bathrooms. But in places like the coast, that is a bit difficult because in some areas they don't have water access to water, so they can't keep them clean. In the highlands, that's different.
Yeah.
Unless the gas station is a mess, you won't find like a messy bathroom. And if you find one, you can actually tell on them.
Yeah.
You can call, not the 911, don't be a Karen, but there is like a number that you can call, so they are gonna be reprimanded.
I think the bathrooms in Ecuador are cleaner than in the US and Canada. Like for gas station, I would say more often than not, they are so clean. You do need to bring your own toilet paper. Just always have toilet paper on you. And then for the most part, I would say 90% of washrooms here are very, very clean. In other places, like in the market, you usually have to you usually have to pay the attendant 25 cents.
Yeah.
It's like 15 to 25. I think 15 cents is only when you don't have your toilet paper and you're in a rural area. But those people keep the washroom spotless. So I have no issue spending that 25 cents because when I go in, it's like it's new. You get toilet paper, some of them have hand sanitizer. There's always soap in the washroom and it's always spotless. So it's like welcoming to see that I have to pay for the washroom there. Oh, Reese says blue zones are places with high concentration of centenarians. Vilcabamba didn't make it to lack of birth certificates. Reese, I'm not surprised about that, but also I think they might have been forgetting how old they were. Some people because they weren't. I don't know if they were as quite old as they said.
Yeah.
At one point, that they said one of the guys who was famous was 65, and then he was like 95, and then he was 126. So, but I will say this: I actually think the reason they last so long is their standard of life, the quality of life, like hard workers, outdoors, exercising, drinking good water,
Exactly.
vegetables. I mean, it's not. I think the secret to long life and longevity is easy.
They keep themselves busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very active.
Yeah. Oh, Elliot also drinks a lot of water too. I've never been in Loja. Is it a good option? Loja is stunning, really, really beautiful. It was Ecuador's first green city, lots of recycling. It also has tons of bicycle paths, lots of music. It's colonial, similar to the historic center here.
Yeah, it surprised even me because Loja was not doing great in the last 10 years, but I think they are catching up with the rest. So yeah, I hope Loja will be also in your bucket list because they have also one of the most interesting gastronomy in Ecuador.
Yeah. The food there was amazing. I am in Toronto and have heard Cuenca is cold. Can you please discuss? So, uh, let's do that one first, and then we'll talk about toilet paper. So, Cuenca gets a reputation for being cloudy and cold. And the truth is, the weather in Ecuador everywhere and in Cuenca changes in a day. So most people who've lived in Ecuador for a while don't look at the weather forecast because it always says rain. But what they don't tell you is it's like rain from like 10 p.m. to 11, or it'll be rain first thing in the morning. Right now, rain is about like from 4 to 5. But what you don't see is that for the rest of the day, it's scorching hot. So,
and it's not that hot either.
No.
Because we're still in the mountains. There is elevation. Temperature here is I shall call it temperate. As I told you, we got two seasons: the rainy season and the dry season. Right now, we're transitioning from the rainy season towards the dry one. But there is also this thing about how global warming is affecting the natural periods of these seasons. When I was a child, it was raining from October till March, April, tops. May and June, kids out of the school will be playing outside. I remember myself wearing shorts and uh, you know uh, shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now we have moved around. This month, May, we have had some rains. And
hot and rain.
Yeah, and it's been like this since it started probably in 2015 or so. It's like it's moving around a little. But I have lived in Europe and in the States, so I can tell our cold is no way like your cold in the northern hemisphere. So our cold means like you just need to wear a jacket and long pants.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
I would say, so I have a packing video coming up. And so this is a dress. I usually wear a dress and then I have yoga pants on. So I might have those on like at around 7, 8 a.m. And then usually by 10, I have to take them off. And then I'll have like a zip up or something on. And I usually have to take that off because I'm so hot. You do really need to wear sunscreen and a hat all the time because the radiation here is really intense.
damage your skin.
It will damage your skin. So I actually went to see a dermatologist. For those of you who were on the last live, I got my mole removed. So I had a mole here. And I don't know, as I got older, it was starting to come out. Anyway, got it removed. It cost me $40. And it was by a surgeon, like a dermatologist surgeon. And we had said $40 was actually expensive. I could have got it for 20 if I'd gone somewhere else, but you have to wait in line. So
yeah, if you want to be prepared for weather in Ecuador, you gotta check out her video because it's going to give you like the best advices.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Ecuador is a destination to worth visiting all year around.
Yeah, and you need to know, like, you have to be flexible, and so things are not going to be the same. It's not like you take your life and you pull it here and it's going to be the same but cheaper, or like the same but organic. It's going to be different. And so I think Maria had asked, and we have talked about this so many times, the mistakes that potential expats make coming here, and that is they want to have their life here, their same life, but it's here. And so I think the reason why I'm always so happy in Ecuador is that I just experience Ecuador for how it is. And so that means there are things that I don't have here, and there are things that I do have here. One of the things I don't have here is flushing toilet paper in the toilet. Now, if you have traveled anywhere outside of the US and Canada, that includes Europe as well. I don't think you can flush toilet paper there. A lot of countries. Most countries you cannot flush toilet paper. And so that is because the piping system for the cities are not built for it. And so in Canada and the US, in newer places, we have larger pipes, all of that kind of thing, so we can do it. I have never been anywhere where I've been able to flush the toilet. Some people say that there are places in Cuenca where the buildings you can flush the toilet paper.
They might if they build like they are meant to do that, but you have to consider something. You need to choose the proper brand of toilet paper that is biodegradable.
Yeah.
Because Cuenca is the only city right now in Ecuador that has a special sewer line system. All the water that comes out from our houses, like bathrooms, showers, kitchens, they don't end up in the river like in other cities.
Yeah.
They end up actually in a water treatment plant where they use different techniques to get rid of the nasty thing in the water.
Right.
So once they have treated, then when it's okay to go back to nature, they will like put it back to the river. This is one of the places in where we do bird watching here in Cuenca actually, because it's amazing. You see that they have built like several gigantic pools. So in the first one, you are going to see that there is no life or anything like that. The water is super dark and yucky and super nasty. But then, as they are treating the water in the next pools, you're going to see that life start happening there. And in the very last one, you get to see a lot of shorebirds. That's like hot for us during the migration season that takes place last months of the year. The species that come from North America down to South America, we will see them there. So it tells us, how important it is to take care of the nasty things that we do.
Yeah.
So being this the case, it like if one of the buildings offers you the opportunity to flush down the toilet paper, you gotta make sure that you buy biodegradable toilet paper.
And not like the plush kind.
No.
Yeah.
And like what I hate the most, because we have a hostel and we got a lot of expats here. Maybe they don't know. We tell them that they shouldn't flush anything, but I think sometimes
they forget.
Like, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
They flush down the
paper towel?
No, these like towels that are like kind of moist.
Oh, like the moist towelettes.
Yeah. Oh my God, it has cost us so much money because we have to unclog it, and it's terrible. You have to call the city, and it's super expensive. So
I honestly would say if you've never been anywhere where you don't flush the toilet paper, it seems weird at first, and then it's just normal. When I come home to Canada, it's actually my reaction is not to flush it anymore. I have to remind myself that I can. It's not a big deal. It sounds weird. It's really, you will get used to it so fast. And if you're choosing a building just because you want to flush toilet paper, you're probably going to pay more because that's like a whole other system. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can always ask. I have heard people say that you can do it. I personally don't think you should, because even if a building can process that toilet paper, it leaves the building and goes into the town system, like
Yeah.
into the city system. So it's not a big deal. I promise you. Yeah, the weather. So Shane and Tanya says the weather changes a lot where you are. It's not always hot. It's not always hot. It's not always rainy. It's not always cold. There
Yeah,
are
that's the
seasons
thing.
here. I mean, it's so funny because we were like on the coast. Our second trip to the coast. I actually found it too humid, so I was glad to get out of the humidity. But I've also been on the coast where it's like perfect weather. We're trying to get back to the coast maybe Monday, Tuesday. Elizabeth says she needs private health insurance. I find this quite expensive. Any alternatives? I'm from the UK. Elizabeth, I don't know I can only give you a little bit of information, but Jane, Shane, and Tanya might be able to help here about insurance. But I do know insurance here in Ecuador gets complicated once you're over 70.
Mhm.
I use travel insurance when I travel. So I use both. There are two companies. One is called Safety Wing, and the other is called World Nomads. And I think they're like $30 a month. That protects me against like if something should happen to me. So things like getting my mole removed. I've had my glasses replaced, like the glass in them because they were scratched. Anything like that, I've just paid for. So yeah, if Shane and Tanya or Kristen and Mark, okay, yeah, Kristen and Mark just commented they go through Blue Box. So
The healthcare is cheap in Ecuador anyway.
yeah, it's cheap. To be honest, I don't know if you guys watch Tangerine Travels, but he posted that he doesn't actually, I mean, he's young, so it's different. It depends on what your age is, because you will likely need more health insurance as you get older. But he actually just puts money into a fund because he doesn't need as much. But I think he might only be in his 30s. Um, let's see. Luis, thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you the next time I come in the fall. Have a great weekend. So David asked, do we have any recommendations for cacao tours or tastings in Quito? There are no
Oh,
cacao
yeah.
tours, but
Well, like
not like
cacao plantations per se.
no.
No, like you'll have to go to Mindo. That's the closest one. Mindo is about 2 hours away from Quito. It's one of the most beautiful places in Ecuador.
But even then, they only have they don't grow the cacao you eat.
Yeah, you will see how the plants are and stuff like that. The cacao is grown in the lowlands of the coast and the Amazon.
So Esmeraldas and then in the Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, if you would like to do like a chocolate tasting where you will learn how important and cultural relevant cacao and chocolate is for Ecuadorians, in Quito you have quite very interesting experiences. Angelina has in one of the videos of Quito one of the places for cacao tasting.
We loved that. We learned so much.
And that is right in the historic district, like I think it's like 2 blocks away from the Independence Plaza. And also, if you you don't want to go to historic district, but you should because it's beautiful.
Yes.
Or actually, if you want to buy some souvenirs, Pacari, which is is my favorite brand here in Ecuador for organic chocolate. They have an experience in the northern area of Quito by Parque La Carolina in a neighborhood called La Floresta, which is also a great neighborhood to stay if you are planning to spend quite some time in Quito.
Yeah.
So Pacari experience is fantastic. The owner is actually from Cuenca, so they have put together like this amazing experience there, and the chocolate per se is I think is one of the best that I have tried in the world. And I'm not saying this because I'm Ecuadorian.
Yeah, I brought the chocolate home for my mom, and she loved it.
Yeah, and I love chocolate. I'm a pig about chocolate. So yeah, I know my chocolate.
So so in Mindo, in my Mindo video, I do talk about the chocolate tasting there. It's really great, but they do not grow. They have some cacao plants there for demonstration, and then they actually process it on site. So they do show that. And then in the video, it's a Quito video. I think it's my last Quito video, where I stayed at Casa Gengotena. We did a tour, and that was an amazing tour. Mm-hmm. So I think I would actually do that tour and do Pacari
Yep.
because they're both both
Yeah.
good to know. And then if you want to buy souvenirs and you don't go to Pacari, go to the grocery store because they sell the Pacari chocolates for $2.10. And in the airport, they're selling them for $5. So don't buy them in the airport.
Yeah.
Elizabeth says, "Do I have to have insurance in the UK, or can I make it to Ecuador?" You do not have to have insurance to fly into Ecuador, but you would have to pay. If you, I guess, unless you go to a public hospital.
Like no, Ecuador has a universal healthcare system here. Anybody that's walking into Ecuador deserves and will have medical service attention if it's needed. Let's say you break a leg or something like that, they will take you to the hospital and they will treat you there.
Yeah.
We're supposed to not let anybody die because they couldn't be properly helped. However, because of the pandemic, there is a problem right now in the public healthcare system. Here, for instance, if you need medication, you will get it for free.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they are lacking of some stuff. So anyway, like going to a private hospital is not that expensive.
No.
It's not going to be as expensive as the States. But like,
well, Joseph from Cape Breton, I don't know if you're still on here, but if he actually broke his hand. And so if you're going to come and you're worried about doing something like that, I actually do recommend travel insurance because he came here to move, didn't have travel insurance. And then the interesting thing about hospitals here versus, I think, the UK or Canada is like hospitals are different prices and doctors are different prices. And so you don't want to get into a situation where you have an emergency, have to go to the hospital and you don't have insurance. So insurance is, always a smart idea. I do travel with it because like you could trip over a pebble and break your leg. So you don't want to have that unexpected cost. It will be so much cheaper than say getting, your leg fixed in the States, but it's still an unexpected cost. So travel insurance is smart. Greg, is masking mandatory still in Ecuador? It depends on where you are. So we are here in Cuenca and it is mandatory indoors and outdoors. And I would say places that are more open, like we were at Cajas yesterday out hiking. A lot of people take their masks off there because you're not around everyone. But the culture here very much is still supportive of masking, particularly inside because so many people died here in the beginning, especially in Guayaquil. They had like people in the streets and mass graves and things. So it's very much a sense of community over individual. And so Ecuadorians, tend to take care of each other. And especially those are a lot of elderly people here. But you will see people without masks as well, especially in kind of more outdoor places.
Yeah, it has relaxed in the last couple of weeks, but they still recommend.
Yeah. So they relaxed it in other areas and now the cases are going back up, which is not surprising.
Yep.
Horst, I love your videos, but I have not subscribed because I can't. Okay, that's all right. If you could give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. And then, Allie, the name of the travel insurance. So I use World Nomads, and then I also use Safety Wing. And I actually think I put it in my video descriptions as well. I'm pretty sure I have Safety Wing. And the reason I use Safety Wing at times is because I can get it outside the country. Whereas, sometimes you have to be in your country to buy the insurance before you go traveling. So Safety Wing is good. I could just buy it today if I wanted to. Jane, I split my head open in Cuenca at the Sanyari Hospital. Plastic surgeon, medication, travel insurance paid, $900 total. Wow, Jane.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And then, Johnny says, I felt much safer while in Ecuador COVID-wise. Yeah, I think people are, they do the fist bumps, there's space. As I said, like in open areas, because Ecuadorians love to go hiking and things, a lot of people will carry their mask. And so they will have their mask off while they're hiking. And then if you see you're going to pass someone, you put your mask back on. Yeah. That was cheap to get my mole removed. So the story behind this is in Canada, because I spend so much time in Ecuador and other countries that have high radiation. I'm in the sun a lot. I really want to get some moles checked because I do have a lot of moles and I also have sunspots and sun damage. And so I just wanted someone to check it. And they told me it would be up to 2 years just to have like an exam. And so Andreas has been always raving about his dermatologist. And so it was fantastic. Not only did she do a consultation, the first time I met her, she did a consultation where we talked about my sun damage and things. Thankfully, nothing that looked cancerous, but she also warned me about some things and then recommended a number of products, which I now use, which are so good. And we went to the subsidized pharmacy, so we got them for cheaper. And then I asked her about this. I went back like 3 days later and she did it on the spot. It was fantastic. Dental here is also very good. I wanted to get my teeth cleaned before, but I'll have to wait until when I come back. Kristen and Mark, please, I hope you get things checked out and you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Ramiro, any recommendations to travel to the Galapagos Islands, travel agencies, Ecuadorian based in Canada? My wife is Ecuadorian. Kids are dual citizens. So Ramiro, I have gone to the Galapagos 3 times. I have videos from all 3. It depends on what kind of travel you want. So this year I went with Metropolitan Touring, which is a more luxury style. You have like a big room, and it's bigger. There's a lot more people on it. And I also went with Intrepid Travel, which was 12 people on a boat, and they went to different places. So it depends. You and your children, I believe, if they traveled here on Ecuadorian passports, can get cheaper flights to Galapagos.
Flying to Galapagos for Ecuadorians and people that live in the Andean community, which is Colombia and Peru, is way cheaper than anybody else's. And also the entrance fee. Ecuador has so many national parks and protected areas. All of them are free, but the Galapagos Islands, archipelago.
Yeah.
So for foreigners, I think it's $100. For Ecuadorians or Andean community people, it's $10.
Right, and that goes to the Center for Research. So they've actually done a lot of things. The last time I was there, they actually told me that all of the money and research that went into repopulating the tortoise population there, they've done so well that they actually don't think that they need to continue because they've been able to repopulate and rehabilitate them on other islands. So they're doing some really interesting things there because they have a number of species that are endangered, and so we're working really hard to bring them back to those areas.
So a little tip though, if you, he said wife is Ecuadorian?
His wife is Canadian, I think. Yeah, my wife is Canadian.
He's Ecuadorian though.
Yeah, and his kids are dual citizens.
Yeah, no, the thing is, if you are not interested in a cruise,
you could do a land tour.
Exactly, just go to Galapagos and you are going to find lots of tour operators that will offer like daily activities and excursions. And you will save a bit of money since you will be, getting rid of the middleman.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. Like you're going to spend the most if you buy in Canada. And then if you come to the mainland, you're going to spend a little bit less. And then if you go to the Galapagos, you're going to spend a little bit less. So it just depends on what's your priority. Like if you just want to buy it and show up and have a holiday, then that's one thing. But if you're like, oh, we want to save money or we want to, do other things. I haven't taken a land tour yet, but I did spend 5 weeks on one of the Galapagos Islands. I think the cruises are fantastic because you just show up and enjoy.
Yeah.
But they're more expensive. So we are actually hoping maybe in the fall, because he's never been to the Galapagos, so we'll go do a land tour so that I can compare it against the cruises. Abid says, I've been in Ecuador. I've been in Ecuador since September. I am now on a digital nomad visa. Video hopefully coming out next week or the week after to explain that, but I have a 2-year temporary residency here. Johnny, what's the name of our dermatologist?
Doctora Patricia Espinosa.
Yeah.
She's in the Santa Ynez Towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny, we can talk about if you need like a specific, I can also comment below and I will also type that information for you.
She's the best.
Yeah, she is really great, but I'll tell you, she is strict. She even said to me, my eyelash extensions, she's like, those are not natural. You shouldn't have them. But I really trust her. She looks great, and she's got really great suggestions. So I would highly recommend her. Pedro, are you going to upload in these upcoming days? Yes. Yes. So Pedro, there's no stopping. I've scheduled some things, and then right now I'm actually doing we're transcribing this, so it will be with Spanish subtitles today. And then Greg, flying to Ecuador tomorrow. She's a travel agent, and I send her your videos. Thank you so much, Greg. That is really nice. Johnny, thank you as well. Elizabeth, next live chat will be in Canada, but probably not until July. So all of June, I'm working all month. So I'm traveling throughout Canada, and I'm actually going to Europe, but I'm not going to say where yet. But I'm traveling, so I won't be able to do a live, I don't think. We'll see how it goes, but I'm pretty much working every day. And then July, I will be in Nova Scotia, and so we'll catch up with you on that. So like a month from now. And then Michael. Oh, Michael. Thank another Patreon. I'm sorry if this was already asked. Does the digital nomad visa have the same rules about leaving the country? Michael, yes, it does. And so it is not meant, you can leave and come out, but then you can't then apply for your permanent visa. And so in my visa, in my nomad visa, I'm actually going to talk about if that was the right visa for me to pursue. It wasn't. So, but I'll explain why. Ecuador has, I think, like 12 different kinds of visas. And so because it's the newest and I was the first person to apply, it was actually the hardest to get and was the most expensive for me. So, but I will talk about what I think other people should do. LA, if you want to contact Andreas, so in the description, there is his WhatsApp. That's the best way to contact him. If you're planning on coming to Ecuador, download WhatsApp now because that's how everyone texts. All the businesses, everyone communicates. Even our dermatologist communicates through WhatsApp because she wanted a picture to see if it had healed properly. So that is the best way. I also have his email listed there, but WhatsApp is by far the best. It will be in this video description. And wonderful. All right. We were at 1 hour and 46 minutes. I promised Andreas it would only be an hour. Guys, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Maybe I can convince him to do another one. Guys, thank you so much for joining. And all of those super chats, completely overwhelming. Thank you so much. If you haven't liked this video yet, please do. But also, there's a video coming today. Yes. Huecas in Manta. If you are looking to go to the coast, if that is a place that you would like to see, I didn't want to skip posting a video this week. So it is coming up in 13 minutes. There will be a video. That's right. And then you'll see the next video Wednesday.
My mouth is watering just thinking about that video.
The Huecas in Manta were fantastic. I didn't know what it would be like, what the Hueca culture would be like. We had some amazing seafood. It really made me appreciate Manta. I didn't know if I would like it, but it's really good. So if you still have some time in 13 minutes, there's another video. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. And thank you so much for joining me. And Andreas, it means so much. Yeah. Have an awesome weekend.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Hope to see you soon in Ecuador.
Yeah.